TVI investigates computer crime, how the computer has become the centerpiece of an electronic battle between cops and robbers. TVI looks at the crime of the 80s. The one thing computers don't do yet, it seems, is make people. They seem to do almost everything else. In particular, they make handling money much easier because the money doesn't have to be passed from hand to hand, and they make the bookkeeping easier too. Single computers now run national networks of cashier terminals at banks and building societies. On a conservative estimate, at least 50,000 computers are now in business and government use. But the rise of the computer has brought its own problems. In particular, how do you keep greedy fingers out of the computer till? Computer crime has become so sophisticated that the criminal can instruct the computer to fiddle its owner and then instruct the computer to forget it did it. This report by Peter Prendergast on how the dishonest play the numbers.
Park Lane, Mayfair, a symbol to those who have become rich or would like to do so.
Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go around. Money makes the world go around, it makes the world go round.
On the ground, the daily and familiar ritual. Security guards protecting the bank's money. But at this NatWest branch, there was no need to disturb the guards when an attempt was made to steal £182,000.
The first thing he did was to get the computer to transfer £189 to his own account to pay off an access card bill. Then, he and a friend concocted another idea. This involved transferring £15,000 to the friend's account here at the same branch. His downfall came, though, when he tried to transfer £182,000 to yet another friend, but at a different branch. He didn't realize that to do this, you needed a special document. The bank became suspicious, traced the transaction to him, and Scotland Yard's new computer squad were called in.
Mike Comer is one of a number of experts trying to tackle a growing problem. How widespread is computer crime in Britain?
Based on our own experience, I would say very widespread, and I would be surprised if in British companies the total loss through computer-related fraud was less than 100 million a year.
Surrey, a council employee stole £14,000 by diverting money into a bogus company. Liverpool, a £130,000 fraud at an electronics firm. Leicester, a senior accountant milked his mail order company of £40,000. Middlesbrough, the deputy branch manager of a loan company, stole £10,000. London, a programmer rigged the computer, taking £17,000. Tyneside, a bank cashier switched over £20,000 from customers' accounts to his own. With computers, ingenious minds are always probing for loopholes. For one widely used computer, a programmer circulated a skeleton key. Security consultant Martin Summerchuk explains.
Now this is an IBM System 38. It's one of the most secure systems on the market at the moment. But it does have a loophole at present. Now what that loophole is a small program on this disk which will allow me to get free access to the system. Providing I can get access to the computer room, providing that precautionary measures haven't been taken, will allow me to get a complete list of all the passwords to people who use the system. All I have to do is come over to this box, open it up and put the disk in, close the cover, come over to the screen and tap in a few simple commands to copy the program from the disk into the main memory of the computer.
As commanded, the computer offers up the passwords. IBM say they're aware of the loophole and have taken steps to plug it. But some firms we've talked to have not heard from IBM. Why do we hear of so few cases of computer crime?
I think there are a number of reasons. I think the first one is it certainly isn't in the interest of manufacturers and suppliers of computer systems to advertise that there is a potential problem there. Secondly, it very often isn't in the interest of the victim to advertise that he has a problem. And thirdly, those cases that come before the criminal courts, it complicates the case to bring in the computer elements. And those cases which have come before the criminal courts in the UK have by and large tried to avoid any reference to the complexities of computers.
If it involves money in any way at all, it is predictable that crooks and thieves will be drawn to it like cats to sardines. And since credit cards are about money, stealing, faking, and forging them is now a small industry, or maybe a big one, about $1 billion a year, as a House Banking Subcommittee heard today, and as ABC's Charles Gibson reports.
They dressed him up like the Elephant Man, shrouded with a hood and cape. He affected a limp, and they made him sound like Donald Duck. Even members of Congress were intrigued by the elaborate preparations for a man who once worked in organized crime, passing phony credit cards.
I made a very, very good living. I went from hot dogs to caviar. You're dealing in large money, large quantities of money. It's like being a Wall Street broker.
His bread and butter? Visa and MasterCharge cards, the easiest to use illegally, he said. The cards came from prostitutes or were stolen through connections at the post office or were printed from blanks, easily obtainable and forged. He worked stores around 42nd and 8th Avenue in New York. About 2,000 phony cards are passed in that city every day, he said.
How much do you estimate in a day that you could charge to my account?
If you really got out and work, you could do like 10,000 easy.
10,000 a day?
Yeah.
And some stores, called juice joints in the trade, seek the illegal credit card business and take a cut for themselves.
Say if I'm buying a TV, it costs $200, $250, then they'll charge me like $500 for it. But I could take 5, 10 cards in at one time and work them. There's no problem.
The subcommittee wants to make dealing in illegal credit cards a federal crime, but that may not help. As the witness said, there's too much money in this to quit. Charles Gibson, ABC News, Capitol Hill.